Hello families, thanks for tuning in today. So the goal of this video is to kind of explain all of the things I'm going to be doing in the near future for our program. But first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for your patience and your support during this time of stress and unknown. For me, these things I'm doing are about keeping kids kind of engaged, and although there is to be some flexibility, obviously, and we really want to kind of teach resiliency in our kids. I do think that, we don't know how long this closure is going to be, and so we want to build some consistency in terms of the programming and the things that they're learning, and so that is my goal with all of these. So I'm going to talk about our weekly curriculum plan. So that will look like an emailed or a post in Class Dojo of craft plans, a storybook list, matching activities, matching discussions, or in some cases just important ones, and small group game ideas. It will also include all of the materials I will be sending home. So let's dive into what circle time is going to look like in those videos that I'm going to be posting. So I made a printable that looks a little similar like what is behind me. So I will include this in what I drop off at your home, along with a little pointer so that kids can follow along as I'm doing circle. So the first thing I always do every morning is I sing our good morning song and I say hello to everybody and I ask how they're doing. So that's what these feeling faces are down here. It kind of matches our zones of regulation over here. So we talk about our feelings in terms of the feeling name or the color. There's also secondary feelings that we can be feeling in any one of these. So we'll be talking about these. We'll be discussing kind of what the plan is for any materials or activities I have planned to kind of go along for that day. We'll be talking about the date. So the date is always the special helper's favorite because they get to use the pointer to help count in the calendar. So they will get to help count to the number. We'll talk about what number it is. I will put the star up on the day so they can kind of mark it off with a dry erase marker, and then we can talk about what day of the week it is and sing our days of the week song. And then moving on to the weather, we will sing our weather song, talk about what that looks like outside when we use our looking eyes. I will dress the weather panda. I really wanted to make everyone a panda, but I couldn't. So this is the next best thing, talking about that. I have what we talk about at school in French and English, but our younger kiddos don't do the French, so I will be singing all of these songs in English and then doing French videos later. So we're going to talk about the weather and then our discussion of the day. So that sometimes looks like relating to the topic or the theme. Lately we've been talking a lot about being safe, keeping our hands clean, personal space, that sort of thing. So those discussions might go on further. And really, what I'm just trying to do is model the discussion I would be having if we were having school. Then I will sing a song, and I will read a story. I love story time. A lot of the time when I read a story, it isn't just me reading the book. I kind of talk about what's on the page, and I ask the kids questions. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that, even though there's no back and forth. They can just yell at the screen they're watching instead of me at circle. And then I normally at this point in the circle, I sing our Little Seed song and everyone lines up and washes their hands for snack. But in this instance, I'm just going to keep rolling into what we would do in our second circle for just ease of videos. So you only have one to watch a day. So I would then proceed to do some of our Jolly Phonics. And so this, our young kids don't do, but that's okay. There's never a bad time to start learning it. So I would go through kind of all the letters we have done so far with the actions and the songs, and then start moving on to new ones as we progress further. And then I will be doing my own version of Magic Box. So instead of having a special helper here with something of theirs, I will pick something from the classroom and put it in the box. And the first version of this circle time, obviously I will be asking all my own questions, but ideally I'd like a little bit of back and forth so parents can post questions that their kids may want to know about the next item that's in the box. it's not going to be interactive like in real time, but I still think the kids are going to find value in being able to have their question heard and then having it answered. And then we'll all get to see what's in the box, and it will be a really big surprise. And you can let me know if your child guessed what it was, or if they didn't, or they got close. And then I will be singing our goodbye song, which, since I have no friends to say goodbye to, will probably just be our working hand song. And that will be kind of the wrap up of our circle time video. Then I will also be posting videos of our play centers. So what I may have set up had we had physical school, what that might have looked like. And so some of that will be what I sent home, and some of it will be things that you can probably find around your house fairly easily to kind of incorporate the lessons in. So these things would look like fine motor, math, or literacy-based activities. I will be doing some how-to videos. So some of us buy slime and some of us make slime. I will probably make some slime and show you how to do it, because it's actually super easy and the kids really love it. And this way it kind of gets their creative energies out. They can add as much sparkle as they want, as much color as they want. They kind of get the creative freedom to do that. We do this a lot when we're at school. I'll probably make Play-Doh on camera. We'll do some writing trays, some small world play. The crafts that I send home that I've prepped, I will probably do how-to videos. And those are more to just sort of explain the process, because in almost every instance of craft or art at school, it is less about what the final product looks like, and it's more about how we got there. So did the kids use their own creative identity to form the craft? Did they have to follow directions? And if they followed directions, what did that look like for them? Were they able to follow 2 steps? Or of the 2-step direction, did they only follow step 1 or step 2? So it's kind of helpful for parents to gauge where their child is at in terms of following direction that way. And so I will frame a lot of these crafts how I normally would have explained them at Circle or at our small table time. And then I will be doing some videos on how to teach letter formation in case your children are struggling with certain letters. We can talk about the rhymes I use and the song I sing to teach them where to start their letter. And then how to use our sensory bins. So the bins that I'm sending home, what's functional play in that, and how do we expand on that? So lots of stuff going on. I will also be doing some tips and tricks videos on pencil grasp and concepts that I teach a lot of time at school. So like, how do I teach kindness? How do I talk about friendship? Those sorts of topics. Then I will also move into teaching some social thinkers and zones of regulation. So I will be sending home some kind of instructional letters, and then some activities and game ideas. And I will also be reading the stories that match these. So for many of our kiddos, we are kind of on Unit 3, Unit 4, but I'm gonna start right back at the beginning because I do this anyways. So even though I'm on Unit 3, if I find that we're struggling on a concept that we learned in Unit 1, I bring that book back out and I reread it. So I'll be starting at the beginning. And then with zones of regulation, I will be sending home kind of an information sheet that will look like this. And then we will be talking about the zones this way, and the language I use and activities I do to kind of help children understand the way our emotions affect us and how we can regulate our behavior and with how we're feeling. So that's that. And then I will be doing French curriculum videos for those students who I've been working on with French. So that would be how we're doing today, very simple concepts, hello, goodbye, the 7 days of the week in French, what is the weather, so we'll talk about that language, and it, as I mentioned, it is on this handout as well, the language that I've been using. And then we'll do head and shoulders and the rainbow song. So those are all things that the kids who've been practicing French in our junior kindergarten program and our preschool program will have already been learning. I will also be sending home lists of resources for movement and body breaks. And so this may include some silly videos of me kind of demonstrating what we do, and that's more for consistency of how we use it in our classroom. There will also be some goals with this. So if I'm looking specifically for kids to be crossing the midline, what that might look like. And then the curriculum boxes. So I sort of semi-gathered up some stuff from Valentine's Day to explain kind of what I meant with this. So the first one I send home will include a tub that you can use as a sensory bin. And inside of it is going to be a whole lot of materials. So there will be 2 to 3 different colors and scents of Play-Doh to match kind of our theme. And the scents don't really matter as much, but they're more for that olfactory response that kind of get kids excited about playing with it. The first bin I send home will include some base materials. So a lot of these things you may have at home, but we're all supposed to be staying inside. It's easier if you don't have to go out and get them. So things like scissors, stubby crayons, glue, dry erase markers, and erasers, to kind of name a few things. They will include materials to play with the Play-Doh. So in this instance, I had in my Play-Doh bin with the kids on Valentine's Day, we had some gems and we had some googly eyes and sort of random hearts that I had found. We also had these really fun eyeballs. I had these sort of pokey heart sticks that we included so kids could kind of make their own like love monster, because we read a story about love monsters. There's also, like, in this instance, I had little heart-shaped boxes that I included, and I always include pipe cleaners. So these will be included pretty much in every box, because you can either play with them in the Play-Doh, or I might include straws and beads to help lace. In this one, I had included a heart that you could lace some string onto. This was an activity at one of our tables. So these are sort of examples of things I'll be including. I had this really awesome kind of heart ice cube tray, and tongs, and stickers, and then a sensory material. So in this one, I used like shredded paper, but it could be anything. It could be rice or beans, or I don't know. I haven't quite figured out how we're gonna do all of that. It might also just be water. We might have some water play going on, which you can also do no matter what. But these things are really great for the kids to practice fine motor and creative skills with them. The other things I'm going to include are some laminated tracing sheets to use, some name practice sheets for our junior K and preschool kiddos, and then cutting practice sheets. So we use a lot of different materials to cut at preschool, but I find that cutting on different shape lines is really handy for them. So I will include like curved lines and zigzag lines and straight lines for them. And then expansion materials for any of the sensory bin items. So that might look like scoops, tongs, or other fine motor items. I will send ideas home for further expansion using items from home. For example, if I were to send you multicolored rice, you could use a funnel or a bunch of funnels to kind of, you know, create something in this bin. And then there will also be the prepared craft or art materials. So kind of depending on how many times your child would attend in a month is kind of how many crafts I'm going to try and include, 1 per day, plus maybe an extra one or some open-ended art ideas that are really easy to do at home. And I'm hoping to include a storybook. So the first bin may not have a storybook, but the one after definitely will. And kind of matching our theme and all of that. Speaking about library books, or books in general, so the libraries are closed, but my Scholastic book order from Friday I left open, thinking I was going to order some more books, which I am. But if you would like to order more books, you can also do that. I'll probably leave it open until tomorrow morning, and then I'll place my order. We should expect to get them kind of Friday or Monday at the latest, is kind of what I'm expecting. That's typically the shipping time from when I place an order. And I'm not at, we're not in like some crazy rush, like holiday period before Christmas or anything. So kind of one of the last things I want to touch on is the FaceTime appointments. So these are kind of as needed for whoever needs them. It can be parents. If you're feeling you need some support with something I've sent home, or you have some questions, or you need a little bit more guidance or help with something you're trying to do at home, by all means, I am available. I would love to be able to help you during this period of stress and unknown and all the things that are going on, but also with the kids. This like change is difficult for a lot of kids, and such rapid and drastic change of going to school and then not being able to go to school, and why can't we go out to play places, and why can't we do this, can be a little bit stressful for them. So I want to make sure that like this is all consistent, but also that I still get some of that FaceTime with them, because face-to-face contact with my kids is amazing. I love connecting with them. I love knowing how they're doing. So I am open to FaceTiming them as often as they need. Maybe they don't need it as often as others. Maybe they just want to say hi, and I'm okay with all things. I am totally here and available to kind of help with that and have conversations. This is a stressful time for everyone. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what the next few weeks looks like, and it is complicated. So even though children are resilient and we have been working on their flexibility, they can also like struggle, and they really sort of understand when parents are feeling apprehensive and stressed. And so hopefully all of these things sort of mitigate some of that stress you might be feeling about what am I going to do at home with my kids during this time. A lot of these things I'm going to send home can be adapted for younger or older students. So hopefully you find them valuable, and hopefully when we can be reunited very soon, we'll throw a party first of all, because that would be so much fun, and then there will be consistency and we won't have lost as much time as we otherwise might have if we had just kind of shut down and done nothing. So in closing, please let me know if you have any feedback. If there's something you'd like me to include in a video or handout, something you might need some extra help with at home, or if you have any questions. I can be reached on Dojo, on my email, or many of you should have my cell number, but I will post in Dojo just in case. Anyways, thanks, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Bye.